for political reasons. The state spread Islam for political reasons. But like you said, they don't know that history. So they assume the reason there's more Christians in the world than anybody else is because of the power of the message of Jesus Christ. Not at all. It's because the power of the guillotine of European kingdoms.
And we just spoke about religion and how that's used to divide. And for those unaware, they were trying to pass a bill in Kenya that increased, I'm paraphrasing, so I don't have the accurate numbers in front of me, but the price of bread was about 26%.
Okay.
Cooking oil, I think, was at 14%, 2.5 on the total value of cars. They also wanted to increase money transfers. You know, that's a big thing for African countries.
We're basically talking about tax?
Yeah, basically it's a tax bill.
Okay.
So the people are protesting, but what I found so glorious is that I see the Kenyan youth doing something that I've never seen done on the continent. Maybe you would know more than me, but they're working together despite differences in religious, cultural, or linguistic differences.
That's Pan-Africanism.
So I've never seen a group in Africa, because it's usually like when protests take place, is a particular group. I don't like to use the word tribe, but tribe, a particular group, right? But fire, because we have people on the ground in Kenya, they're telling us, themselves are telling us like they've never seen this. There's something that's clicked in this generation's mind where they understand that this, because they understand the game, because the only thing the government's going to do is put this particular group in power, suppress the rest. But they're putting the government in a position where they can no longer play that game because everyone's working together and they have a united vision for the country. So have you seen this in African history?
We do have examples of Pan-Africanism through history on a local scale. We haven't really seen one recently outside of what's going on in the Sahel with Burkina Faso and Niger and those brothers in those four countries uniting. Interestingly too, because the president of Guinea found out his white wife was actually an informant for the French military, and I think he imprisoned her or something like that. So that's interesting. But nonetheless, we have seen examples of Pan-Africanism, but I'm glad to see that though, because you're talking about within a single country, the youth are putting their religious differences to the side and they're organizing on a strict platform of Pan-Africanism. You know, I was in Kenya, and I'm not surprised to see this because when I was there, I spoke at the University of Kenyatta, 2016. So we're talking 8 years ago. But I heard from the brothers and sisters on the ground how corrupt they felt the government was, you know, and they told me that, you know, even though Jomo Kenyatta is without question, you know, one of their great heroes in the liberation struggle, his family, who still hold a lot of political power, many people feel that they are very much corrupt and are dominating the land question, and at the same time allowing Chinese and East Indians to come in there and basically do what they want with the economy, so forth and so on. So I heard so much about corruption in Kenya that I expected there to be some kind of an upheaval or revolt. So I'm not surprised they're doing this. I'm glad they're doing it. I just hope they see it all the way to the end, because again, our movements always start with emotion, and that's okay because you need passion to carry it forward, but they have to be one with strategy and tactic, not emotion. So I'm just hoping that they see this thing through, because it's important, it's necessary, and I hope it trickled down to the other countries. Listen, the bottom line is this: African youth globally, because it's a global problem even here, African youth are going to have to overthrow the black bourgeoisie, the gatekeeping elite that the white power structure uses to keep black people in their place. And this is everywhere, from the Caribbean islands to South America to Canada. I've been everywhere except Australia yet, and I'm pretty sure it's the same thing in Australia. There's going to have to be another African revolution, but this one is going to be global, and it's going to be the overthrow of the black aristocracy by the Pan-Africanist youth movement, and it's going to be a global movement. And then once we overthrow the black bourgeoisie, we're going to have to go to war with the white power structure. The only thing keeping us from war with the white power structure is the black bourgeoisie have most of our people in a coma. They sleeping and thinking things are getting better when they're actually getting worse. Once we overthrow the black bourgeoisie, it's going to be time for war. 2 wars, one internal to overthrow them, and then one external to take back the planet. And black people need to understand, as we go back to religion, black people need to understand that, and this is where I find it ironic that our brothers and sisters who do belong to the three world religions tend not to think that black people can be restored to our former glory, or oppression can be overthrown without bloodshed, because Jesus died. Jesus came to earth to spill his blood for your sins. Muhammad ibn Abdullah fought plenty of wars, and some Muslims even will argue that he was assassinated. And of course, within the Hebrew tradition, there's always sacrifices that have to be made as well. So my thing is, how can you belong to a religion that preaches blood offerings are necessary for transformation and spiritual redemption, and not think that none of us are going to have to spill our blood? It's ridiculous. We're going to have to die. There's going to be a war for African emancipation. It's going to be the worst war that the world has ever seen. And when we take the planet back, I don't think we will ever allow anybody to put us back in oppression. The white man knows that. The red man knows that. The yellow man knows that. The brown man knows that. Everybody knows that if black people ever get a chance to go back on top, we won't lose it a second time. And that's why they're doing everything they can to prevent that revolution intellectually and physically. And the reason why they spend so much time on the intellectual side with the media and the school system is because if I control a man's mind, I never have to worry about going to war with him. That's why America, as much money as America spends on the military, she spends even more than that on propaganda. Because if I can control the way they think, I ain't never got to go to war with them.